רכב עם חיילים, רכב עם חיילים.
בגדול אנחנו שומעים כאן את הקריאות נגד התקשורת. אתה יכול לראות לך גם את השלטים הקיצוניים, ופשוט חבורה של בני נוער צעירים רודפים אחרינו כבר כמה מאות מטרים.
זה קטע גדול, אתם חייבים...
Yeah, okay, I think you got it. So that's just a few stars in the recent protests in Israel. The Haredim problem. Now, before I start, let me be very clear about this. No, it's not all the ultra-Orthodox Jews. It's not all the Haredim. It's not even close. We have a few people that are very extreme, but those few people are a few thousands, and it's a problem. So, what I want to talk about today, as you probably guessed, it is about the situation that we have in Israel lately about the Hasidic Jews. It's one of the reasons I haven't really been talking about Iran lately. It's because we have our own shit in our own country. So as the elections are coming closer and closer, there was more pressure to promote laws that will benefit certain types of people. Now, those types of Hasidic Jews, the protests about what they're about. Let's start with that, okay? The protests are about recruitment to the army. You see, in Israel, we have a mandatory service. You either do, by law, you either do a military service of some kind when you were 18, or you do a national service, though many times you don't really get to choose if you do the national service. National service is another kind of volunteering in a civil place. For instance, that's what I did, because I'm mentally fucked up in the head. So I had my service in a kindergarten, in a special needs kindergarten. Most Jews are doing the service, there's no problem. Never really seem to be that much of an issue with it, except for one. Well, technically two sectors. There are two sectors in Israel that are completely exempt from having any service. And that is Arabs and Orthodox Jews. Now you want to probably ask, wait, what are Orthodox Jews? How do you decide? Are they just all the people with black? Well, we have a vague definition in the law The problem is it doesn't really account to all the Orthodox groups in the country. So a lot of them are just not considered to be there. Now, in the ultra Orthodox sector, we you have all kinds of mini sectors, right? You have the ones that are more liberal, you have the ones that are the typical ultra Orthodox, and then you have well, those the very violent ones. Right now, probably the smallest one of them all is actually not the violent one. Probably the ones that are liberal, but it's a growing community, that I can at least say. And most of them are the ones that also decide to volunteer and go into the military service. Now, why are we bringing this up now? So, from the start of this country, there was the status quo, which is basically an agreement between between Muslims and Orthodox Jews and basically secular Jews about what can you do, what can you not do. Some of those things have been things like the exemption of the service. Some of them being things like El Aqsa is only for the Muslims. Only Muslims can go on Temple Mount and get into, unless they're specifically soldiers. Now, that's been fine and dandy, but back then, at the start of the country, the other Jews, the Orthodox Jews, they've been only 6% of our population. Now they're getting close to 20. You see, ultra-Orthodox Jews have a very high birth rate. The average secular Jews have about 2.9 children, so around 3 children per woman. That is very a lot, especially in a Western country, right? Or at least Western ideals. The average for an Orthodox woman has been obviously higher. It definitely went down, but it's 6.5 is the last time I read it. And that is a lot. Because it's not just the military service. There are also specific benefits that they get that no one else does. Now, keep in mind, it is estimated that only 8% of Orthodox Jews serve in the military, which, thank you for your service if you're watching this. This is, I know you're going against the community. I know that it's to the point that in the military, they specifically let you go back to your homes without without your military clothes, just in case. I know that this is not something that is agreed upon in the society, even if it's not the extremes that will physically attack you. I know that overall in the ultra-Orthodox society, it is not well accepted to, it's not very well seen to do. Now, we have special routes in the military specifically for ultra-Orthodox people, so it's not like we don't have things like, because one of the claims they have is like, oh, well, the military is too secular. It's not religious enough. So they made specific military routes for Orthodox people. Those do exist. So it's not like they can, and they can combine the study of Torah, because this is the main argument, that they have to study Torah to protect the country. And so you have the time to study Torah and to serve, right? The very extreme ones have their little slogan called "Namut velo nitgayes," which is basically we'll die before we'll go into the army. We'll join the army. Very extreme, and a few of them actually did die. In one of the clips I showed you earlier, you've seen a clip of a bus. Yeah, in that event, after ultra orthodox teenagers and men climbed on top of those buses and started banging and spitting, the driver freaked out. The police didn't arrive even though they called them. So he just pressed go, and a 14-year-old teenager has died from that. And that is a very unfortunate case of what the things that happen. It's insane. You have you have some of them that were climbing on top of large structures and cranes. Some of them fell to their death, or some of them got stuck in there and needed rescue because of those protests. We have more than that. We have complete blockings of main roads. Almost every one of those protests, or better say riots, has not been coordinated at all with the police, and there seems to be a lot of violence inflicted towards people, and people that are tired of it and inflicting violence back. So it's a complicated situation, but people here are specifically angry about because of the message, because you had multiple reports now after 3 years into a war. The reservists are tired. Some of their businesses got shut down. They haven't seen their kids for 300 days. They're tired. You have rising levels of PTSD, and the military has said multiple times, we need to start recruiting more people. Now, some might say, why are you not going to the Arab side? And the reason for that is a bit more complicated, which I can go to a separate video. But my personal opinion, I think everyone should have some kind of service in the country. I think if there's a mandatory service, it should be mandatory service for everyone, even if it's just national service. Now, keep in mind, like I said, not all Orthodox are like that. Not all Orthodox are the examples that we've seen before. There are plenty of reasonable one, as much as reasonable as you can be, that they don't budget into anyone's life, and they're just chilling, and they living their own life, and they live and let live. Some of them even volunteer in organizations like Zaka, which do huge service for this country, and it should be considered to be a huge service. And they're the type of people that went after October service to the rebels to try to find bodies. So those, I am not talking about those people. Very obviously, I'm not talking about those people. But going back a bit, so troops are tired. We need more troops. And there's a pressure that we need to recruit more. At the same time, the law on timer that was given to basically the Georgia Orthodox, that they don't have to be recruited, it was basically over, because every time they have to put it for a certain amount of time, because it's not exactly a law, it's a call from the court. It's a complicated thing, right? But let's just say it that way. Every few years you have to renew it, and this time there were too many wars, there were too many things to deal with, and they didn't get to it. So you had a period of time where legally are required to arrest ultra-Orthodox teenagers at the age of 18 that refuses to go to the military. Now that's a big thing, because that never really happened. You never had to arrest them. But now it's the point that they did, and this is where we started to have things like that. Those massive riots, and demands from the government to do something. Because the protests didn't even start about that, right? Because you had protests before that, and it's because of other stuff. Because you see, the ultra orthodox also get different benefits. They get subsidized apartments and subsidized kindergartens, private kindergartens. They get money per child, which we created to do a lot. There are extra discounts that they're getting in the buses. There are extra things they're getting, extra money that they're getting from the state because they are considered to be poor, because a lot of them are not even working. They read Torah. That is what they consider as a job. The country has accepted that, and they've been getting money. And again, that wasn't a problem when it was like 6% of our population, but it's growing, like really growing. So yeah, you started to have those rights. A lot of people, including me, have said this is not fair. Why are they gaining extra things for doing less, for contributing less? They're not working. They're not. They're not doing anything. They're just starting tours. Some of them even avoiding it. And at the same time, you have parts of very, very minor parts of them that are acting suspiciously like cults and marry their daughters in questionable ages, which is a whole other can of worms. But because of that, there has been a lot of things happening and a lot of riots and a lot of violence and people coming to the edge. And then came the last week before they had to break away the Knesset, which is like our parliament, because you have to have like 90 days before the elections that they can't make any rules. And they just made a series of laws benefiting those communities, exempting those communities again, which thankfully the High Court has pretty much immediately canceled it and said that you can't just do that. But and the riots didn't stop. They're definitely taken down a notch, but they definitely not. They didn't stop either. They're more concentrated now. You'd see them more in Jerusalem, like because you had entire days that for hours upon hours, the entire world was like they sent us back early from university because there was no way for us to get home past a certain point because they kept coming into more roads and more main roads, and it was insane. So this is a problem. The ultra orthodox, the benefits that they're getting, them not being required to work, them not being required to have a service, is a problem. And you have all those kinds of things that they're like, oh, they need this though. They need this because what about their children? It's like maybe if we'll make sure that they have an educated population, because that's another thing, by the way. They don't have to study. They have their own schools. There are estimated 400,000 students in Israel this year that have not studied basic subjects, not science, not English, not math, a lot of the very basic things that we need to know. Because whether you agree or disagree if we need math or not, we need math. Okay, the most basic thing, but they don't even study that. That is a third. 400,000. That is a third of all the students in Israel. That is insane. And it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a big problem. Now, I want to show you something. While I'm prepping this, I want to talk about the good sides of this, because there are. So all of this, by the way, it looks very grim. People are afraid of the future of Israel. People are talking about how religious it's becoming. A lot of it is to gain votes for the next elections. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what direction we're going to go. We can only think, we can only predict, we can only vote and hope for the best. But one thing is clear: this situation cannot continue this way. It is estimated that by 2050, 40% of Jews in Israel would be ultra-Orthodox Jews. It's a problem. And you have great minds that are leaving Israel because they are seeing this and they are afraid, and they do not want to be a part of this. A lot of them staying, a lot of them fighting, but a lot of them are exhausted. And I can't even blame them. Now, the good thing, you know what? Let me first find. Okay, never mind. Okay. So, the good thing. Yeah, changed my mind again. Okay, I wanna show something. This website is a very interesting website. You can change it to English. So you have all kinds of websites that claim that they know the recruitment rates. This one only uses the data sources from provided by the state. It also have a few notes about the sources. But in general, it shows the population and how many of them going to the military. Now, secular 100% enlist who don't have a choice. Secular 77.9 overall in the country. Religious Zionists, which are basically nationalist religious, 70.5% enlists. 2.2% of Haredim and 2.4% of are Druze. Not off. Sorry, not off of the graph. Right? When you look at the combatant soldiers, the majority of them are secular. They also have probably the biggest numbers as well. Percentage by sector of enlisting girls and boys, right? Boys in secular, you can say very high percentage, and already a very relatively low percentage. Girls and Druze, Druze, by the way, are the only ones that also have to be, because of the way we tied. So this website in general is a very interesting website. I personally like it because it summarizes throughout every possible way the data of the military from the past few years, even by schools. One thing to note is the enlistment rate of Haredi sector is overestimated because many of schools IDF do not even recognize. Assuming no one enlists from them, the male enlistment rate stands at about 8.5% per 2024. The Druze group also includes Arabs and mixed schools like Christians and Muslims, so not only Druze. So it talks about Arabs in general, Arab enlistment. Now, obviously, this is just the numbers, the percentage of what the military is, but this is what we probably want to look at, is what percentage of them recruit. And like I said, even though the 11.7% in Haredim, it's overestimated. And we also, for boys, right, for girls, it's a bit of a different situation. So it also shows based on regions. There's so much data. I really recommend you to check out this website. It's recommended. It's a Versal app, Versal.app. Very, very useful. I find it personally very inciting. But yeah. So now for the good news, as I promised like 4 times now. So the good news, it's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, a lot of those things, a lot of the decisions that were made, a lot of the laws that were passed, are passed in a way to regain votes. What will happen after they actually get elected again, or if someone else gets elected, that's something else. The good thing is yeah, like I said, we're not sure, but it could be for the better, for worse. It is most likely to be for the better. The other thing that we need to talk about is the demographics. While it's true that that you have all the demographic estimates, but they don't consider the constant drop we see in the Haredim birth rate. It doesn't include the rate of which Haredi Jews convert to a different sector, or even just come out straight out from their religion, which there are a lot of them. There's also a thing called Haredim Anusim, which are basically ultra Orthodox that do not believe in God and do not and they're afraid to do it, so they practice the faith not because they believe in it, but because they feel like they have to, because they're afraid of being rejected from their families and community and never be able to see their children or their parents, things like that. There are a lot of things to consider, and a lot of it in the end is also about the laws that we're going to have. If we're going to instill in the education system, well, we know that the more uneducated of a populace, the better it is. The more people are coming out of religion. We know that this is a pattern. We see it throughout the entire world. We even saw it in the history of Judaism. So all of those are things we need to consider. If we make them be part of the education system, which is likely to happen, then yes, we can have even more secularization. So it's not all doom and gloom. And there is hope. There's actually a lot of hope. And we'll cross that bridge. And I think things will be clearer in the next elections. So this is basically my message to the same desperate Israelis that are thinking that it's time. Go vote. This is your chance. And for any non-Israelis here, I hope this video, as messy as it is, because I suck at organizing, I hope that it cleared a bit of things that have been happening lately, and why it's such a major point and what's really happening. If really needed, I can try to do another part 3. But that's only if I get specific questions or things that are not like I'll try my best. But yeah, thank you for watching me. And oh my god, I can't believe that I'm saying it. Subscribe if you want more.